Hi everybody, Luke here from Compass Outdoor Adventures. I'm excited that you downloaded our video today to learn how to make your very own virtual scavenger hunt. Now, as the title implies, we are an outdoor adventure company focused on big events and team building programs. We routinely go outside and go mountain biking and have big giant hikes with beers afterwards and ride bikes through tunnels. We do that kind of activity. It's super fun. However, COVID obviously put an end to that. So in March of last year, and we were either going to close our doors or pivot, and we decided to pivot and figure out what we could do online that would be worthwhile and bring our level of enthusiasm and excitement to the masses. So born was our online team building adventures. Now, the biggest one that sells the very most is our scavenger hunt. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to take a few minutes and explain to you exactly how to do it yourself. It's not rocket science. If you've got some time and some resources, you can totally manage it. So I'm going to give you all the tips, tricks, and ways that we do it so that you can do it yourself. Now, Goosechase is the platform we use. This is a great company out of Canada, and they've built an app that you can build an entire scavenger hunt inside of. What's nice about it is it collects video and photos and text-based missions that you can create beforehand and share with other people. Now, if you're going to do it yourself, you can play with it for free for up to 3 teams. Now, that's 3 isn't really enough people. $300 gets you 8 teams, and $500 will get you up to 20 teams. Now, we routinely work with groups from anywhere from 40 people to 200 or 300 people globally. So we use an enterprise package that we can manage as many people as we need. So the way that we run this is we build the event in Goosechase and we share out a link on whatever platform they might use, whether it be Google Meet or Microsoft Teams or Zoom or however their organization works. And for you, you do it in your own native platform. Just make sure that it has breakout rooms. So you want to be able to use breakout rooms so that you can put your groups into teams to interact with each other. So once you build your teams and your breakout rooms, you'll get everybody in the meeting. And what we do typically is we kind of break the ice a little bit because everybody shows up like, okay, what are we doing now? What dumb team building activity do we have to do now? So we start with some fun icebreakers. Now, the ones that have worked the very best for me are the most hated food is hilarious. And you can do this, typically we do it in the chat window. So for example, hey guys, look, you've just joined our meeting. So glad to see you here. While you're coming on board, I'd like you to write in the chat window where you're calling in from and a food that you absolutely despise. If this food was wiped out by COVID, the world would be a better place. Like, what is that food? So go ahead and type it in the window and you'll find that it starts generating, oh, I hate that food too, or I love that. Liver shows up a lot. I don't know who really eats liver anymore, but a lot of people don't like it. Another one that works really well is the most boring fact. So we've heard some really great ones, but just say, you know what? No pressure. Tell me something totally boring about yourself, and people love it because they don't have to really be a superstar. Most ludicrous thing you witnessed in the last 24 hours. This one can get a little bit scary. You got to make sure you're paying attention to your audience, but that was just kind of fun too. You hear pet stories, you hear kid stories, whatever else. The chat window is typically where we organize those things, and we'll bring in a speaker to elaborate. So we've got everybody on screen. We're looking at different people. John, what do you mean you hate liver and onions? Explain that to me. Do you mind coming off the mute for a second? And that way they get engaged. Now, what we do then is we explain all the directions and we get everybody kind of rolling. You can totally do this. We share a specific code with them that is that Goosechase, their specific Goosechase game. And then we get ready to break them into teams. Explain all that, break them into their rooms, and they go off into their own breakout rooms. That's where the magic happens. That's where we're able to kind of get creative or whatever. The sweet spot for a team building scavenger hunt is anywhere between 35 and 55 minutes in a breakout room. And it all depends on the group and how much time they have. You want it to be enough time that they can get a fair amount accomplished, but you also want it to be short enough that there is a time component that keeps them moving. And like I said, 35 to 50 minutes, 55 is about perfect. While they're doing that, we're furiously in the background pulling out the best missions so that we can showcase them during the event at the very end. And that's where the magic happens. That's where everybody laughs and they joke on each other, etc. We do have a few missions, though, that we will load in about an hour. We'll load about 60 missions, knowing that they can't accomplish them all. But our top 5 missions that always get people laughing and get people really engaged are the Getty Challenge. We call it a big points mission. That one basically says find and recreate a work of art, a famous work of art. And we get some amazing submissions from that one. So you can write that up, and that's a great one to use. Business up top is always funny because, we're all in our pajamas, if we're wearing pants at all, because we're showing up on this thing. So that's great to see where people show up and how they have a blast with that. I had one guy put on a tuxedo the other day. He was dressed for impress. He was really good. Citrus Smiles. This one is just good to talk. It's fun because it just gets people engaged. This gentleman here is playing with his family at home. We see that a lot too. Like coworkers will grab a kid or grab a roommate or whatever to do some of the missions. They also work collaboratively with the rest of their folks in their rooms to manage some of these together. Crazy hair day, obviously. Now, I taught 5th grade forever. So some of these things are actually just things that we would do with 10-year-olds that are just made to be fun, right? They're made to get laughing, right? And the last one I want to tell you about that I'm just going to give to you right now is our Tom Selleck mission. This one is funny in that everybody finds it and jumps in it. This I can't kind of point to her, but this one woman right here was hilarious. She painted that on with eyeliner and left it on for the rest of the call. And she had every submission that they posted had her in a mustache, and it was hilarious. I guarantee everybody had a fun time with it. So we built all of those pieces. Everybody's in their room. In your breakout rooms at Autumn, everybody comes back at the very end. So after 45 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever, they just miraculously show in here. There's ways in Goosechase to put in notifications. Hey, you've only got 2 minutes left, or whatever else. So pay attention to the notifications. But then you'll get them to come back into the room. And at that point, we showcase the best submissions. And then a lot of times we'll award prizes based on how well people did. Or sometimes we randomly choose. Sometimes we give to the top point earners. Depends on how competitive the group is. And we give away typically pretty cheesy prizes, right? Just for fun, right? These antisocial notebooks go over really well. The emergency googly eyes, I've actually ordered those twice because they're so popular. I've never walked into a meeting where somebody had them. I really want to know what they're doing with them. But anyway, so those work really well. And then at the end of the time, you ship off and you've got this content library with a whole bunch of fun submissions that your team laughed and enjoyed themselves and had fun. We're at about 8,500 people globally since the beginning of the pandemic that we've helped laugh at some point during the time. It's been amazing. So it goes over really well. It's a perfect platform for online. We also do them in person, but online's not bad, and it's something fun to do that gets people doing something instead of just talking with each other. Now, we've done about 100 events now, and there are some real mistakes that you can step into that are a little frustrating, but we figured out the hard way how to fix them. So I'm going to give you 3 of them real quick. One is make sure you use your native platform to host this that people know how to use. We went into one event, and it was a Teams meeting, and we were invited in to work in that platform, and it was an insurance company that was super locked down, and I couldn't even come in to the group. So I actually had to give the directions over the phone and explain to them what was happening. And that was a huge mistake. Luckily, I had a co-producer, a guy producing in the background, our game master, who could manage without me, and he was able to take the reins. So always have a second person that's ready to jump in and take it when your presenter, whoever that might be, falls flat, because technology can get all screwy and that can totally happen. So that's one mistake. Another mistake that we had happen is our first couple events, we got launched globally, but we weren't really ready for it. So you want to make sure that your content really takes advantage of your group and your audience. There's a whole bunch of missions that are stock in Goosechase that you can use. Just double check and make sure they're going to fly if you're using this with kids, or if you're using it with adults or sales folks or people internationally. We had to take out a lot of Americanisms that were in our very first Goosechases, things that just did not make any sense whatsoever. So we pick and choose that based on our audience. So make sure that you're paying attention to your audience. And the last thing that we've done that it's taken a long time to do is we have actually made sure that people understand their goals and objectives of this event. Now, in the first time we were talking team building and everything else, but realistically the goal, honestly, is just to get people engaged and connected and laughing with each other. It's nothing more than that. And it works. So I would make sure that when you push out your messaging and you get that first invite out and you get things going, make sure that you're explaining what you're doing and why you're doing it, so that people walk in and really kind of understand it and have a good time with it. Now, you're totally able to do this. I would think realistically, a group of like 20 people at $500 a piece, it'll maybe take you 10 hours to build and run it. So depending on what your labor looks like and what your capacity looks like, you can totally do it on your own. If it gets larger or more complicated or involves multiple countries or different platforms or any of that stuff, we're game to help. We're having a blast. I get to laugh. I get paid literally to laugh every day. So I would feel free to reach out to us if you're interested. If you have any questions or anything else, feel free to type those in and send them to me as well. I will totally answer or walk you through whatever you need. But anyway, it's been a blast. Goosechase is a great platform. It works really well. If you have any questions, let us know. And otherwise, just take it easy. Laugh a little bit. Have some fun. So once again, Luke Talbot from Compass Outdoor Adventures. I appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.